No. All right, listen. All right, guys, we listen to a station. It's called Doctor, and that's why. And if he can become a Reverend Doctor, you can become a Reverend Doctor. Reverend Doctor Gregory Sutton, Jackson Memorial Baptist Church, probably Jackson, Mississippi, or it could be here, Channel 57, here probably in Atlanta. And they are talking about Hebrews 10. And it's so funny because I was listening to Hebrews 10 on my Amazon Alexa app this couple mornings ago. And it was talking about God and the verse he focused on was the stubbornness of the hearts of the Hebrew Israelites. The only bad part about this Reverend Doctor, like I said, if he can become a Reverend Doctor, you can become a Reverend Doctor. Not anybody, but what I'm saying is that you don't put nobody up on a high pedestal like they are invincible, like they can't be touched. Because when you listen to the doctrinally, the information that he's preaching is so baby. But then if you go over to Bishop Keith Butler, the information he preached is so baby too. It's just catered differently. Whereas Bishop Butler's catering to the white man, and this brother's catering to the black man. Here we go, listen. Let's get our house in order. What does that mean? What does that mean? It is ever time for all the things that we see and hear in this world on the news. If it's ever time for us to get right with God and get our houses in order. What does that mean, get your house in order? What does that mean? Spell it out. Spell it out. What does it mean to get your house in order? It's so easy to throw out these vague statements. I call them cliche moments. Bottom line is that 20 years from now, we'll be saying the same thing. If there's ever need to get your house in order in 2035, get your house in order. What does it mean to get your house in order? They never say that. They never, and I've never the minister do that. Other than my first pastor, George O. Davis, and he wasn't accurate in everything he said, but he at least gave you 5 points. It was like a college class. And really, church should be like a university Bible seminary class. And when I listen to church sermons today, it is so baby, it's so simple. It angers me because I realize that they don't know God. And when you don't know God, then guess what? You are not going to walk in any power. You know, you better have a good job. You better have the ability to pay for yourself. And I mean, that's important, of course, across the board. But what I mean by house in order is really the spiritual things is what he's referring to. But let's get more specific. What does it mean to get your house in order? That's a really good question. That is a very good question. And I'm going to have to say, for me, as a single man, well, it's trying to figure out marriages of a woman or find a woman to marry. It's trying to pick the right woman because, listen, the odds against me, the number of black sisters that are single are high, but the number of black sisters that are not prepared for marriage are high. So his sermon that he's doing is very baby, it's very, as I would call it, simplistic, over simplistic. And the tragedy is that we as Christians have heard that from Bishop Jakes. We've heard that from a host of pastors. And now it's 25 plus years, and those pastors have been saying the same thing. Even white pastors like Kenneth D. Hagin Jr. preaching the same message. But he's 80 now. So he knows that his time is over, and his son's got to go preach a new message to get to the younger kids, because his message that is an 80-year-old man is not going to touch a 22-year-old man, especially if there's no revelation. But when I got saved at 25, what touched me to this day was that I got revelation from Brother Kenneth Hagin Sr. It was those sermons that brother was
was those stories that brother was teaching that transformed my life. I remember going to Bible school, and I remember having him repeat those stories over and over again about 1920 and 1930, and him going and experiencing God. And I didn't put two and two together to get four, but I'll be over there a second. Give me a second, Mike. Hallelujah. I want to go to bed early, so wake up early. Can't help it. I'm on a clock. There is no need for a fat guy to be going out to a club looking like this, knowing that you're gonna be on the side of a goddamn wall, and no woman that you wanna fuck you. I mean, let's be real. Kevin Samuel's right. You know, if you're a fat dude and you know you're a fat dude, there ain't no right to tell a woman that don't want to fuck a fat dude to fuck a fat dude. Just like there's no right for a woman to tell me to fuck a fat woman. I'm not fucking a fat woman. I don't care what kind of body shaming tactics they try to run. If you obese, if you fat, I'm sorry, but you fat, you gotta go to the gym. One of the interesting things I can say about going to the gym over the past few months is that I have noticed something. Now, Snellville is a little small town, kind of east of Atlanta. And where I live at, it's like on the borderline of Buckhead and Piedmont. And I realized something. I'm fat as hell. Look at that waist. But I visualized losing 10 inches and losing that waist and losing that double under roll of fat. I can see it. I can see it as I'm looking at myself right now. And I believe by faith in God and in my work ethic that I can lose that weight. But I also recognize something. And what I recognize is that when I was, it's 8:43, when I was a black man, you know, and just 20 years ago, I was fat back then. When I was at FCC, Jacksonville, I was fat back then. Yeah, I was fat back then. And the reality, God should have had someone speak to me about my sorry fatness, but he didn't. And so when I'm up on the platform and I'm singing praise and worship, I'm this fat black dude singing praise and worship. And that's why women didn't want to fuck me. I had nobody come up to me. Now, of course, I also was crying on stage because I had lost my girlfriend. And for that first 3 years of getting saved, I was really angry because I loved Denise. But just looking back on it, I didn't even know the girl. But it was just the fact that I found someone and she let me fuck her. And because she had a baby, I guess I used that as I got a woman. You know, when a woman's got a baby, they kind of want to be with a man because they need a stepfather.
So in essence, it's kind of like I was looking for someone to love, if that makes sense. And looking back on it now, that is the wrong thing you want from a woman. You want a woman that, yeah, pillow top is awesome. You want a woman that loves to hang out with you, that wants to be with you, that wants to do things with you. When you meet someone who already got a kid, you're doing things with her. You are supporting her. You are putting her first. And it's easy when you're a dude like me who didn't have nothing. It's hard when you, but like Kevin Samuels say, she need to be following you. You need to have a plan. You need to have a vision. You need to have goals, and she should be on your page. But when you are a guy who never had a consistent job, a consistent career, how do you get on any woman on your page if you don't have a page? So here comes the church. And of course, I went to the white churches first. I mean, black church first in Jacksonville. But Jacksonville was like, it's separate. It's still segregated. The Jacksonville, Florida that I remember is not the Jacksonville, Florida today. The Jacksonville, Florida that I remember, segregated. Everywhere we went was following white people, and they moved as we came. So if we come in their neighborhood, they're trying to get the hell out to go to a new one and make it new. And that's what happens everywhere. Here in Atlanta, the same thing happens. So in DeKalb County, that was an all-white town, all white. Blacks started moving in, whites left, went north. Now they're in Marietta. Where do you think blacks moving to? Marietta. Now how the hell you gonna move to Marietta? And because it's better quality, better everything, but you're the minority always, right? Yeah, of course they are. But when they make enough money, right, you kind of forget that you're minority until you get into the political areas, such as schools. So if you're a parent and you got your kids dealing with the bullshit of being a tiny black in a white school, that's when you see it. But in most cases, you don't see it because if you got the money, you can kind of lie and hide and use the money to kind of psych yourself out that being the minority don't hurt that bad. But as I came to Atlanta and I left Oklahoma and Florida, I recognized being a majority works an eye for me. And I can't stand being a minority in this country, minority in the county, minority in the state. Fuck that shit. Sorry. Oh, man.
Move forward.
This is the end of the sermon. I want you to hear the vagueness. If you move forward, move onward, move upward. This is all, I ain't calling it BS, but it's vague. I mean, I apologize, but I paused most of this sermon because I knew what he was saying was vague cliches that I've heard a billion times.
I'm not talking about fasting right now, but I'm talking about spiritual weight. Those sins that so easily beset you.
Pulling verse out of the Bible, out of context, out of context, out of context. How do you do, oh God, not the friends argument. God damn it, man. Damn that brother. I get sick and tired of pastors saying, get rid of your so-called friends. Many of these people don't need friends. You need somebody in your life. And all you're doing is you forcing people to become loners because there's no such thing as a perfect friend. You ain't perfect, so they ain't perfect. You gonna hurt people, they gonna hurt you. But we need friends. And so to say that, throw off so-called friends, damn him. You need friends. I need friends. I've been single a long time, and I can tell you something. It feels like shit not having true friends in Atlanta. But it's because of the bullshit of being a loner, not wanting to make friends because of the lies these ministers told me about throw off so-called friends, that I have to retrain myself. Because I hate to say it, I made a lot of bad choices alone because I wasn't talking to people to vet my mind and my decisions off of them. Choose friends wisely, man. Please.
Stop holding on to that hurt, baby. Let it go.
Another statement. Stop holding on to hurt. How? Again, this is where therapy comes in. The HOW, he doesn't ask. He just throwing out these statements. And it's so funny. I can pause and come right back into it. And he'll be giving you another impossible statement for most of the blacks that are under Deuteronomy 28 curse don't even know it. They need biblical therapy, knowledge of God's word, and they need to study to show themselves approved. They need to be a workman that's not ashamed. Most of them are, because they can't divide the word of God correctly.
I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I think God I'm not where I used to be.
So what? You might be able to hold a note, and you heard him, but anyone can sing, but that doesn't mean nothing. I'm not where I used to be, but I thank God where have we heard that line before 1 billion times? Yes. And I'm tired of thanking God for that. Sir, I'm sorry, Lord. I'm tired of thanking you for that. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. I want to get to where I want to be.
He's kept you. He's keeping you right now.
How?
He fed you.
How?
He navigates you.
How does he navigate me? You fed me. Well, that was my jail through my job, I guess. But I also, busting my tail, going to bed, getting up early so I could be at work early, fresh and ripe, and not fucking lazy and slack. Because I want to succeed in life, not just at this job. I'm going to bed on Saturday night at 8 o'clock because I'm ready. Because I want to get up and be in the gym. At tomorrow they open up at 8, so I'll be sleeping long. But remember, they open up at 8. 8 tomorrow. My kid fucking running.
Every day, he keep opening doors. How many need him to keep opening doors?
All right, you know the storyline, bro. Lord, I want to be a reverend. I want to be a pastor, but I don't want to be this. He never explains how to get these things. He just goes, how many need him? And then they go, yeah. And then what does he do? You don't say, okay, this is what you must do to get that. He didn't say how. And that's what pastors' jobs are to do. Teach you the how-tos. And then watch you implement them. And then do some more how-tos. And it should be a long, repetitive test to get more blessings. Oh no. Oh no. I hate that. That was wrong. That was no. Lord,
on Gospel Music USA. Join host Danny Jones of Singing News Magazine and award-winning gospel music recording artist Karen Peck Gooch and Mike LaFever. It's a half hour of lively gospel music and uplifting conversations each week on Gospel Music USA. Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. on WATC, Atlantis 57.
Pride can be seen in what we can do and what we've achieved and in the achievements of our loved ones. Pride of service for something bigger than ourselves. No matter what makes you proud, own it. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force and this station.
You graduate, they graduate.
Powerful is not what you can do in ministry. Powerful is what you can take. Curtis, we done had a bunch of street fights. You ain't a bad ninja by who you beat down. You a bad ninja by how many punches you can take. I'm gonna talk over here. A real boxer had to condition himself to take a blow. You can give him all day, but you lose your giving power at the end of the fight. It boiled down to the scripture that said the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but those that what? Endure. How many blows can I take upside my head? I'm making an apostle. You talking about blows. I thought this is church. And I feel uncomfortable. I'm entitled. If anybody hit me with a blow, I'm out to the next church to get blows.
What?
The problem with the next church, you're getting blows, you won't get no deliverance.
What? No. No.
Well, why am I saying this?
No.
That was a rather long intro to this message.
No. It was a wrong
But
intro.
I'm saying this because the Lord told me to tell the people.
Oh God, there it is again. The Lord told me to tell. There you throw that right there. You know that's a lie. Most times they straight out there because they're on the people ain't listening.
Reach past the ring itself, so I don't know how they're gonna cook. That life preserver is like grazing.
You're getting the serum stick. You are at the hour, but number 2 are these incredible. Oh,
My dick be beautiful like his. What a wonderful night, man. I'm gonna lie, be out.